Welcome to a talk through the Kilmarnock music scene. Today we're at a different venue, you might have noticed. Even Kirkie can't afford a manshed as big as us. So what we've done today is we've invited along 6 hardened local music fans just to give their opinions on the music scene, what's been their favourites, what their memories are of gigs and bands and venues, any funny stories that they might have, and what they think could be done to invigorate the music scene. So we'll let the guys just introduce themselves to you. We'll start along to my right here.
Hi there, my name's Alexander Frew. I'm 67 years old, and from the selection of questions, my first ever single was Crocodile Rock by Elton John.
I'm Robert Neal. I was originally for Goldstone, so that's where I get into it. My first single I bought was great single. It was Whispering Grass by Windsor Davison. Don Estrell.
Lovely boy.
I was quite young at the time.
I'm Toria. I'm unfortunately nearly 40, and I would say my favourite, I'm not going with the same question, I'm going to say my favourite local venue was Burlington Bertie's, and then we'll go into 5 later on.
I'm Suzanne, I'm 68, and my first gig was...
You're not 68?
58.
I'm 68, I went,
Do you know
what?
something? What I think in my head isn't what comes out.
You feel 68.
Aye.
That's what he's left that in.
That's getting left in. Carry on.
Well, Suzanne, hello, I'm Suzanne and I'm 68.
Carry on.
I'm Suzanne, I'm 58, and my first gig was the Big Country at Ayr Pavilion.
Hi, I'm Stephen Wilkie. I'm 60. My first single was the Bee Gees, Tragedy.
James Gemmell, I stay in from Kilmarnock originally. I'm 56, and the first album that I bought that I remember was this from John Menzies in Kilmarnock, cassette.
Flogging a dead horse, is that?
Nice.
They're selling a lot.
All right, guys, just as an introduction to the viewers that are watching, we want to know a wee bit about yourself. So, what got you into music, and what kind of stuff were you listening to? And we'll start with you, James.
Well, I've got to actually thank Uncle John for that. He was a big David Bowie fan. He liked Lou Reed and all that as well, but Bowie definitely. Diamond Dogs LP was in, when he stayed in the same house together at one point. I was the one at the front of the collection, and I'll never forget hearing the Future Legend, The Stranger. Don't know what the fuck it was, you know, the noises, the dogs or whatever it was, and that was it. That started me onto music, plus the cover and all. And it was an original copy he still has, you know, for the record shop and sockets, with the kind of price still on it, $2.99, things like that. The kind of sense, it's been censored the cover now, but, you know, he was a kind of man dug or something meant to be.
It's an iconic cover, James, wasn't it?
Well, so that's what led me on to the crap I listen to now.
Stephen?
Suppose.
Me, I kind of thinking the questions he'd sent is probably growing up and never having the radio off, and always then it was Radio 1, and you listen to like Kid Jensen, Mike Reid, Peel later on, and then also my uncle was in a wedding band, and then at all the weddings or all your parties there was live music, and I think that kind of got you into live music. And then when you started getting older, I was 11 to 15, I worked at Rugby Park selling the pies, and then that was my money, and I went down to Kilmarnock and the different record shops was there, Brucey's and that, Rulers as well, going through the 10 pence bargain bins and just buying bands because you like the picture cover and buy it. And then as you were getting up, we'll probably get into this later, but the different venues in Kilmarnock, from church halls to whatever, and it was just a lifestyle, isn't it? What is it? You get into it, you meet friends, you have great times. But the best thing about it was when you're going out on a Friday night, you're meeting your pals, but you're also going to see a new band, a different band. And it was just that excitement of going to see what they were like. And that was it. That was my...
Suzanne, what got you into music?
There was always music in our house because my mum always had the radio on, she always had a record on, and it's always like Elvis, Frank Sinatra, old school rock and roll. And then when I was about last year at primary school, punk exploded, and it was Blondie. Our first single was Heart of Glass, and it was like Blondie and SLF, The Jam, just all these, The Clash. Just loved all that, the edginess of it. But I was still young, and it wasn't until I got to about 15 and I heard Big Country and bought the album, played it to death, nearly wore it out, and then went to Piv to see them. And that was me, absolutely hooked. And I've been going to gigs literally every other week ever since.
You must have been a late start at primary school if you're 68 now.
Engage with mouth.
I'm the same, don't worry about it.
Toria, what first got you into music?
I'm really lucky that both my parents were really into their music, and they were quite young, you know, when I was born. So they were loving punk, they were loving everything, new romantic. Even my dad, you know, when he was cooking, he had a bit of opera on. It didn't matter what it was. If it was music, it was getting played. They both really, really loved that. They divorced later on, and then subsequently I actually got loads of influences from their new partners. So like my mum's new boyfriend really got into folk music, and that kind of, so that was a lot of songwriting, and I loved all that kind of stuff. My stepmom's a big country fan, so again with the songwriting and the storytelling and all that. And so I was really lucky that I had quite an eclectic taste in music. And then when I was in my kind of I was about 15, 16 when I met these guys, and then that gave me my love for proper live music, because I was getting to be part of it, part of the machine almost, you know, putting on the gigs, setting them up, carrying the speakers, all that kind of stuff. I just genuinely loved it. Music was running through my veins anyway, and then when I met these guys, it was next level.
Robert?
Well, with myself, it was the same. The radio was on all the time, but one of the big things for me was my dad and his pal Sammy. They helped run the Labour Club. So my dad used to bring home the ex-jukebox singles. Right? So there was a load of crackers in there. But the two that really stood out for me, there was one was Bob Lumen with Let's Think About Living. Another one was Fats Domino's, Be My Guest, which was just like, that was just, I think that would just kick the door open for me, that song. It just sort of impactful and it was fun, and I always liked the fun element of music, and sort of, and the kind of the rawness of rock and roll still always stayed with me. And then as I grew up, like I had an older sister who was into the glam rock stuff, and David Cassidy, we used to throw darts at a picture of him that was in his door. And what do you call it? My older brother, he was into like ELO and Elton John, and occasionally bought a cool single, but few and far between. And then already he was into, he liked his rock and his punk, so that all kind of filtered through as well. So, and the first band I saw was The Damned at Tiffany's, who'd Shipper Nuns, which was just fantastic. That was it. And I thought, every gig's going to be like this.
Alex?
Well, I really get into music because we didn't have a television sometimes, and when I was very young, so we listened to radio all the time. And that was where I first heard the Beatles. And I thought the Beatles were absolutely magnificent. You know, I loved their music. And then my older sister took me to see the Beatles film, A Hard Day's Night. So I remember seeing that in the pictures, Wilfred Bramble and all these folk in a train. And I just get really into the Beatles and loved them. And subsequently in later years, I bought I think with the Beatles box, and it had all the best songs on it and that kind of stuff. But I also get into music in the early 70s with Mud. I know it's sort of, it was the Sweet and all this kind of stuff. I just liked that really early, T-Rex. I thought they were great. So I basically listened to a lot of radio. And I sometimes used to cheat by recording the chart. Remember they had the chart show? You could get a tape recorder. Remember the wee tape recorders? And record the chart show and then play it back later on, and that kind of thing. But I remember getting a bit of abuse when I bought Night Flight to Venus by Boney M, because I thought Boney M were great. You know, I lived in Shortleigh, so it was a tough crowd, you know. They were into status quo. So that was my musical thing.
Suzanne, I want to come to you first. What were your favourite local bands, and what's your memories of seeing them?
Oh, what can I say here?
Any choice.
Well, no, I don't have any choice. In the Plugco, obviously, but even before I knew who they were, I liked them. And Southern Approach.
Oh.
Not that I'm sick of it. And Trash Can Sinatra's really, really like. They were always just that wee bit above everybody else. So just about everybody, I think, that was kicking about. I didn't come up to Kilmarnock till about 1986, 87, so I kind of missed out in like Sir Paul and the System and the early Longhorns. I mean, I saw the Longhorns a lot because they played in here as well. But that's
Steph, local bands.
Well, again, I've got to go and say, through my brother Ian, in the Plug Hole. I think in the Plug Hole in the early days summed it up. It was fun, it was energy, and it was just enjoy the area, enjoy the whole music thing. But I was trying to read my mind all the bands that played in the Gateway. And at that time, there's so many, so different ones coming for Irvine. And they were all good in their own rights. They were all good. They all believed in themselves and the energy was there. I mean, every night, and that's what I was just saying as well, you go to maybe the likes of church halls as well, schools. I mean, I've seen the System and the Jimmy Hamilton. I've seen Davy in a few places. And then one of the kind of ones that blows your mind was the old James Hamilton, it's now the council thing. Yeah. They had a kind of hang with different bands in there, and I saw the 40s. Yeah, and there was guys standing there with oil cans and banging them and kicking them and thinking, wow, this is Kilmarnock. The difference. And that, I think, opened up to everybody giving it, we can all start a band here, or we can all go for let's go. But the other thing as well with that, Kilmarnock, you go, I mean, I know all your faces. You go to gigs and you know, I went to see U2 a way back, the second tour or something, and on the stage, there's a guy jumps up on the stage and I'm going, that's a guy from New Fair. That's everywhere you went, there was there's your connection.
And I can remember meeting you in the Belfield Tower or something like that, and you were the first person that said to me, you were on stage with you too, and I thought, thank God somebody was there to see that.
Honestly, to see that.
See, be fair, Robert, you go to any gig in the 80s and Kirky was on the stage. It could have been anyone.
I met Bono in Dublin and he says, do you know Kirky?
I had a photo of Bonnie and Kirky and one of me says, who's that with Kirky?
James, local bands.
Well, if you're referring to Kilmarnock, well, I'm obviously going to say like so your ones for like All Out Attack, you know them, Pure Impact, Decontrol. Then later 80s maybe Love Children, Children on Stun, Whiskey Preachers, and a gothic kind of type thing. So they met was it Broomhill House Hotel in Kilmarnock?
Yeah. No,
how did I remember?
It's a mosque now.
It's a
Was
mosque.
it? Right, okay. So things like that.
Broomhill was alright.
Guy Andrews,
That's when I saw Ramsey a few times, obviously, back then too, with me, George, and a few other kind of Oxo, you know what I mean?
Oxo.
Remember nicknames a lot of the time. I couldn't tell his right name, that.
Paul. He's the he lives in the Czech Republic now.
Aye.
I keep in contact with him. Big Killie boy.
Aye. But local, but aye, for Kilmarnock, aye, that's the kind of bands I would remember, aye. Obviously, Southern Approach and all, Longhorns, Legion, stuff like that.
Taking a younger approach on this question, Victoria.
Well, I mean, I really, this is a mess, but like all my logic are always up there for me. They were my absolute, and that answers another question. My favourite local band always was All My Logic, closely followed by the Underclass, who were just absolutely phenomenal, unbelievable. They had a wee offshoot, I don't know if you remember, the Fumes.
Yep.
After that, Band for Air, Fudge, they were great. Wee band for Irvine called The Times. Yep. My really good bestest pal, Wes Middleman, then One Last Secret. You had Iber Tripper, that was great and all that in there. Racing Green, Cider Spiders, Red Boyd. We need to mention Biffy Clyro, because at the end of the day, they were a local band, and now they're absolutely phenomenal, and my very favourite band. You have Five Wheel Drive, and then we've got solos, by the way, Little Fire, Colin Hunter, Tragic O'Hara, Andy Kay, Jamie Angus, Johnny Barr, Kieran Robson, Matt Scott. I mean, just my era I'm so proud of, because
great stuff.
I was absolutely surrounded by talent. It was everywhere I looked. It was unbelievable. Absolutely. Present company included, obviously. But I'm so passionate and love the era that I had, because we were so lucky. It was, and also another thing I want to say just before I forget is that we started off because we were supported at school in the music department. We had
That was
such
good. We never had
amazing support at our school. It was Grange Academy back
Yeah, we
then.
had
Paul
Paul
Matheson. That's how I got to meet you guys.
right.
Was through Paul Matheson, because he had a couple of guys that were doing higher sound technology and lighting. So he was like, I know these guys. You can go and work with them and you're going to get some active experience. And Tophy, God love him, I was bored one day and went, want to come? I was all right. Lifted some gear and then that was it. I had the absolute bug, and that's when I met all these amazing.
We never did pay
amazing
for
guys.
that. We must be winning money and something. Because I looked after you for that time. We never got a penny.
No, I know.
I know.
It was shocking.
Terrible.
I've got to say that we were supported at school, I know, because the only instrument I ever played at school was a recorder. It did me well. Robert,
Oh, right. Try to think here. What was the question again?
the question is, who was your favourite local band?
My favourite
Where did you
local
see them?
one, this is going to sound a bit. I've got to say, it's turning into the In the Plug Hole fan. Because
I hate that band.
they had that. There was certain, like, you've got to admit, there was certain bands, or there was certain bands you go, oh Christ, is that really gothy rubbish?
I don't nice
Aye.
names. Eh?
But at least she's didn't have drum machines.
No,
I couldn't be doing the drum machine. He's well, go back to that and some other thing. But no, I in the Plug Hole was one, but there was other ones who I seem to remember. There was Sherbet Fountains,
Yeah.
the Lithium Crystals.
Yeah.
Were they not kind of all pretty much the same photo? And then there was the Badger Brothers, which
Aye,
my
Badger
cousins.
Brothers. Aye, Michael and
I kind of became pals with Michael, and that was through Badger Brothers. He later on was and through the Butcher Hillbillies as well.
Aye.
And then Jimmy Wolf, who are
Jimmy Wolf, aye.
they're still on the go. Jimmy Wolf are a great band actually when they were together, and I think Kirky. You're an everything, Kirky. Sorry, you're everywhere, man. Michael still plays with what do you call him, Mouthy Man.
Stuart Fox.
Stuart Farquharson, aye. That's it. He's a good joiner as well, apparently.
Aye.
But so it was all that kind of thing. But I always felt like certain bands, there was a sort of really friendly atmosphere with certain bands, and others not so. Kind of just I don't know if you remember the guy who used to balance pints, and he'd not mention any names.
I think I know your thoughts.
And I thought, Ken, this is not a rugby club, get it in, okay? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I always wanted a laugh and a joke. But met loads and loads of kind of decent folk, and folk still bump into, and I hadn't seen for years. And then they all go, you're such and such, aren't you? I was always known as such and such. Such and such. I was naming that's the name of my lawyers.
Such and such and such.
Named after Screaming Lord Such, of course.
Screaming Lord.
Alec, local band.
Don't say on the Plug Hole.
I never really had much experience of going to live gigs, to be bluntly honest, but I'd heard of a lot of bands. I kind of saw the Longhorns and your 30s and So What, you know, in the early days and stuff like that. But I was kind of associated a wee bit with a studio in Kilmarnock called Sirocco Studios. Clark Sorley was kind of the mentor, and he did a lot of stuff there. And one day he did a thing called Kilmarnock Rock. I don't know if anybody remembers that. And they had a big gig.
I remember it.
Was it the Palace Theatre? I think it was, at the Grand Hall. And I remember my sister-in-law was involved with them. She was kind of promoting it, and she was getting us to buy the album. And I've still got the Kilmarnock Rock album there somewhere.
Was it Kick Rock it was called?
Kick Rock. It was a big key, small key, big key, Kick Rock. And it had the worst cover I've ever seen in an album. And
good album, I think.
had bands on it like the Longhorns, had the Turbo, Electric Hobo, who were quite good. They had a song of that still, and Bloody Mary, and the Straw Dogs, who I think are still going.
That was different. That was wasn't us. It was me and Barry were
The
Straw
original?
Dogs, and no, we were later. There's a band of the same name who actually did their own stuff. I don't know. Don't know much about them because somebody got us confused with them before. And
But I believe Sirocco had something to do with the trash can Sinatras, didn't they?
They bought it.
called them?
What the?
They bought it out.
Became Shabby
It
Road.
became Shabby.
Aye.
That was later in the 80s. I think it's there in the 76 or something.
The terribly named
Remember it
Shabby
well.
Road.
I mean, they did some amazing stuff there. I think he produced over 200 albums. Clark saw, I mean, he's still going strong.
Home that he stays. I'm not sure where he stays, but in his flat, he's got like thousands of recordings in there, and so I'm told. But,
And a lot of popular albums were all mixed at Sirocco, Ken. I remember somebody saying, must have been an interview we did recently.
Was it Popper?
Raintown, Deacon Blue,
Aye.
mixed in there.
there's loads.
Taylor
There's
Mitri,
loads.
the Bluebells, Aztec Cameron, Martin Taylor,
yeah.
Hamish Imlach, and even Elaine C. Smith. That's something to do with them.
Well, Aztec Cameron did their first ever demo in Sirocco studio.
That's what it's. Well, apparently they did a thing called a kick up the 80s.
That's right.
And they made an album and he mixed it. So
He did it was a
I love
live
the
album.
kick up the 80s.
It was a live album he mixed.
Yeah.
What was the live album he
Oh,
mixed?
good.
Popper told us when we interviewed Popper. They told us was it Popper? They told us it was a live album he mixed. Really famous. Was it Thin Lizzy? No. Live at the Apollo. Something I can't remember.
Status Quo.
Could have been that.
Something like
It was something like that. We were all really surprised. And
I can't. Just whenever Stevie had said, Ken, you went and seen the Fainties, and that was the time they had the old drums and all that. Something popped into my head where they called the root searching metal band.
That's right. The way I know it.
I don't know. I don't know.
that
where I
was,
picked it
aye,
up.
that's right. That's
I don't know
right.
where I
Because everybody
picked
loved
that
them. It's just like,
up.
what is
But I
that?
was there.
Aye.
And
So was that.
I remember seeing visually they looked fantastic because they were all jumping about like kind of like maniacs. I was like,
I mean, just watched. This is
crazy.
What's going on here?
Crazy.
Because it was a Sunday night they played.
that's
He
right.
played the Saturday.
Aye.
That was the best bit of television ever. Aye, that was a sort of.
The Tube.
Aye, they must have. That's the best. It's the best critique of a band I've ever seen.
Oh, that
we
was
just
great.
drove them away
Aye.
when they started. No, I went along to see them sometimes. When you're kidding yourself sometimes because I went along to see them. It was like Kurt and Jim Monaghan were to blame, and I thought right, and I always get fooled into this is going to be a great gig, and it never was. I'm just trying to stay.
I was thought the gig, you just didn't know what was going to happen.
Aye.
It was. I always thought it was quite amusing because I always remember one of them saying, Ken, pints at the bar are $1.50 and this microphone they're £2. So it was just madness. It was just crazy.
They played the hockey club up between Goss and Mine.
Club, aye.
Right, we're going to move on to.
But I always get fooled into thinking this is going to be a great night, and it was all right. But
I always thought it was entertaining.
aye, but I mean, you're a chancer.
Cut that out. If I just cut it out.
There's a chancer.
Right.
I'm an enthusiastic amateur.
Look. Right, swap seats. Right, swap seats.
Next question. This has turned into the Bill Grundy show. What a fucking rotter.
Favourite local venues. We'll start with Alex, then we'll move on to Toria. Favourite local venues, Alec.
Burlington Berties. I believe quite a few bands played there, and I think I remember the Gateway as well. Was it no actually in the multi-story?
Aye.
Below the multi-story,
The multi-story. My younger sister worked in there when she was a student, so I remember getting in there quite a lot. Don't remember much about bands, to be honest. But that's about the only two venues I remember. There was one called the Pumping Station, but I think it was just a disco, wasn't it?
You sure? Sorry, I think I can't. James knows that place.
I was just thinking if I knew a lassie called the Gateway. But anyway, no, there's that. The venues, well, obviously Vicky's was a kind of.
Aye, that was-
Vicky's was a kind of. That was a kind of pinnacle, and I just like. But I mean, you're saying Burlington Berties, but I remember it as the old Labour Club as well. Do you know what I mean? Aye, and then we had the Hunting Lodge was quite good as well, and there was I know some other bowling club did some stuff because I remember seeing we Three Kings.
Aye.
And when was that? Because that
Glazer.
Those are stuff.
And the
Wasn't
Plug
it?
and the Plug supported them.
Right, that's probably.
Oh, you were there.
That's what it was there. That thing in the club. What a band they were. I loved them. Tell you.
We three men, that's right.
I remember seeing them like that.
Me three kings, me three men. It's different, eh?
Aye,
The big day, remember that thing, the big day they had
Yes.
in Glasgow?
aye.
They played
They played
that.
that.
No, it was, there was loads of great, and there was they did a kind of, there was a kind of festival down by the park. What do you call it?
Airport.
That's
right, I remember.
the one that got rained off.
No, there's about three.
There was one that
There was
rained
a
off.
few.
There was one recently that kind of rained off, that was that.
No, there was one at the Scott Ellis that got rained on.
Aye, that's it, Scott Ellis.
I don't remember.
See when you mentioned the hunting lodge, the Liberty Cage played there.
I did
That
so
went
soon.
when they couldn't hang.
I was there. I was there.
Aye.
We were there.
We were there. You were there. You were there, Stevie,
That's another thing. A lot of stuff we're talking about happened like pre-internet, pre-social media.
Yeah,
So it was all word of mouth and
that's right. You're
Killie.
telling people.
Stevie, I was actually at the recording of that game.
I thought you did. Aye.
That's amazing.
and you trusted folk to tell you things. Like
And
that.
they play the fantastic song, The Head That Wears a Crown, my favourite song. I've actually got Paul wrote the lyrics out for me and signed it at the boat and can't got it for my Christmas this year.
That's all right. Fantastic stuff. What would be your favourite venue story?
I mentioned earlier Burlington Betty's, obviously, because that's how I was introduced to it all. But then it's not the ideal venue. I've seen, obviously, I've talked about it before, but I still love it. I love Fanny's. Like Fanny's is great. It's the atmosphere. It is not ideal for a gig at all. You just when the crowd goes in there, the crowd goes, and it always did. Bakers, both of them, because again, like I've talked about, the original Bakers, Jerry Cinnamon was in there. Loads of different bands come down from Glasgow to play. The guys, the Blue Tones, and then the guys have went and they've got now what used to be the Granary, and it used because remember we did Dirty Weekender
We did.
in there.
Aye.
That's actually a really great venue. It's already got a stage there. It's good to go.
That's good.
So I think it's boys get it utilised. Grand Hall again, that's got a special place because Stiff Little Fingers and the Damned.
Yeah.
Which my dad was so glad I was a part of. And again, Hunting Lodge. The Hunting Lodge, I've done a couple of charity gigs or whatever in there. Again, it's got that. It can do it. Just use it. I think that's the thing that we're not as rich with venues as we were, and especially not considering what you guys, places you could go. But we've got places that are red, they can do it. It's just we need that. What's the question? It's later on, but it's how do we push it forward? How do we start getting the scene back where it was pre-COVID? But all my favourite venues, most of them are good to go. Apart from Betty's.
Lodge, I remember.
Yeah.
Suzanne, you're next.
Vicky's,
Local venues.
Vicky's, Labour Club, Burlington Betty's, Glazier Club, and the Woodstock, when they did the Woodstock Festival. That was a good day.
That was great.
That was a good day. And Grand Hall. The Grand Hall's got the big halls, the middle hall, and the small bit up the stairs. Why does it not get used more?
It won't be being
Well, it will be.
Definitely should be.
2022 Saturday gets finished, but
Does it? Aye, right.
it's going to be
Big facelift.
I remember in the plug coat and the 30s played, I think it was a Women's Aid benefit, and there was a jumble sale going on in the hall at the same time the bands were playing. So
I still got a flyer for it.
that was really quite an interesting day. I know there was, but Vicky's was short and sweet, but what a great place.
it was great.
Every Friday and every Sunday. Just,
Big Steph.
Well, me, the Hunting Lodge. Well, that's where I
I
started.
thought you seen the Labour Club.
Well,
I've
the,
never come to see you.
you know, I played the Labour Club once, I did. But the Hunting Lodge to me was where it started. The boys from Bruce's, remember Cookie and all that. There was a downstairs if they hadn't the upstairs, and it was just the alternative disco, and that's when I heard Gang of Four, The Clash, The Damned, and then upstairs they started bringing like those French girls, bands for Glasgow were coming, and again I think to me that was the start of the kind of scene. They boys kind of broke it into the different places round about Kilmarnock, but the Hunting Lodge for me.
James,
So I remember a place now, I went to see a band, early 90s, It was a place called Magoo's. I don't know how long it lasted in Kilmarnock. The Friday night, a band called Surgical Slaughter played. I know they were kind of death
Like
metal,
sing
thrash
something.
metal, kind of crossover hardcore or something. Guys would come in and Stevenson played there. The place was full of bikers, they kill them in the skinheads and that. It was a fucking great gig though. Superb. But I don't know whereabouts in Kilmarnock it was. Magoo's it was called.
I must have agreed.
It was Magoo's, there was the Pink Pussycat Club.
Do you know what?
That's,
do you know what?
that's the pumping station. Eh?
No, I think it was where Peanuts was. Hi there, I had to take a wee break there. You might have noticed that Steph Wilkie's had to leave us just a wee bit of an emergency. So we'll continue on with the people we've got here. And hang on a minute. Move back behind the camera. He does this every time. He tries to get in the. He tries to get this side of the camera every time he tries it. He's make it that.
Hitchcock.
I don't know. You ask yourself.
I just left it up slightly. Well, he just likes to do.
Personal, Robert. Anyway, we're back on track. So, Steph, thanks for your coming along and hope everyone's okay. Here we go.
The first gig you ever went to, what's your memories of it, Suzanne?
Big Country Air Pavilion. Very first gig, absolutely blown away. The Lotus still supporting them, who were really good as well. And first time and only time I think I've actually sat down at a gig and wished I wasn't. And I don't think I've sat down one since.
That was a
It was
good gig.
really good.
Toria, first gig.
Well, I mentioned it earlier on. I didn't really start doing live music until I started working with these guys. So, try to think. It was probably just a load of the guys that I went to school with put on a gig at Bertie's, and it was probably Iber Tripper was probably one of the first ones up there. Definitely All My Logic were one of the first bands that I ever saw. Maybe why I kind of honed in on them, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, my live music journey started in Kilmarnock, which is probably why I'm quite passionate about trying to get it kick-started again, because I've been so lucky to see so many bands in Kilmarnock. It's unbelievable.
Robert Neal.
My first live, well, was the Damned, as I said earlier. It was at Tiffany's, and that was it was a Strawberries tour, so it was October 1982, and the Stripper Nuns, Captain Sensible come on, play for the encore, bollock naked with just his guitar at the very end. But apparently in between that there was sort of seats coming thrown down for the balcony. We were on the balcony and there was all this stuff going, seats were thrown down for the balcony, folk were fighting and spitting on each other or whatever. But I'd never seen any of that. I was actually just transfixed on the stage. It was an amazing gig. And that Strawberries is still one of my favourite albums of all time. It's very much underrated.
It's very divisive album, isn't it? The damn fans.
And then especially the Nirvana fans as well.
Yeah.
When you hear Life Goes On. You know what I mean? So yeah, and it's I just like, I thought, Christ, every gig's going to be like this. This is going to be brilliant. But it wasn't really. And after that, one of my mates thought it'd be a great idea to go see Paul Young, supported by then Jericho, and that kind of turned the sheen off it a bit.
Jericho a great band.
I'd like to have kicked him in his big area.
I used to go drinking with Mark when I stayed in London. He's a great guy.
He's caught these together. Oh, come with me, mate.
He's a good guy. Alex, first gig. What's your memories of it?
The first big live gig I went to was I went to see Sky in the Apollo in Glasgow, and it was Herbie Flowers and John Williams. Those were the only names I knew. Apparently somebody called Kevin Peake was an electric guitar, Tristan Fry in drums.
Oh, he's got
Francis
lots of Mighty
Monkman.
Mouse.
Does anybody recognise any of these
John
names?
Williams, the
Classical guitarist. It was part of an Australian English group called Sky, and myself and my friend Robert Denham. I don't know if anybody knows Robert Denham. He was a bit of a Kilmarnock musician. He used to play at different times.
I think I met a relative, Joseph Cotton.
That's it. And I really enjoyed it. I just liked the music. They had a big hit around about 1976. And I just thought, this is good music. So I went along and listened to it, but that was about it. I didn't really go to many live gigs.
Do you remember Mighty Mouse? Sorry to interrupt you, but
Aye.
Mighty Mouse, Roy the Rovers.
Aye.
Mighty Mouse. The wee kind of chubby guy with specs. He looks like a drummer for Sky.
I didn't know that.
Honestly. Honestly.
Sky's not a band I'm really familiar
No,
with,
they
if
are.
I'm honest.
They kind of did a mix of classical music and sort of whimsical tunes. So I thought they were quite good.
That was a kind of punk rock came along to kind of
Take away that kind of thing.
Naked up one.
Exterminate them.
Then the next year we went to see Status Quo, and you could feel the balcony rattle. You could feel the balcony in the Apollo going like that. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
It's not wrong. I remember the balcony at Apollo.
Aye.
I mean, School were a different kettle of fish to Sky, I suppose.
It's kind of a bit of contrast.
One of John Lydon's favourite bands.
Quo,
Aye.
absolutely.
Early Quo were right.
The Quo.
That's not wrong.
You'd like that one they did, was it with Man United? And, Come on, you Reds.
Come on, you Reds, aye.
Terrible. Burning Dungeons.
Fucking Vidus to man.
Man United.
On the rise again.
I doubt that very much. How has music shaped your life? Come to you, James.
I don't know. Probably, obviously, punk and stuff like that. But then, I think there's a certain period of time there was some bands who became really political, even more than the Clash, likes of the Redskins, Blackers ITA, who were one of your trash tribute albums.
Billy Bragg.
Billy Bragg and that Red Wedding, that great. But I mean, I wouldn't like Billy Bragg at one point because of the acoustic guitar thing. But then when you get a
Like
bit,
the electric guitar.
I know, but mere seen the acoustic. I would say bands like Conflict and all, Crass, kind of Animal Rights and all that sort of stuff. So I would say that it's kind of made me hopefully a better person. You know, especially I would never been to bands with a kind of extreme right wing. You know, no, definitely no. So I would probably say my father calls me a commie. So I'm quite happy with that. He says that to his Masonic mates. He goes, oh, he does a Kenny horn shakes. He's a bit of a red. I go, bloody right. But he says that as an insult to begin with. But
You take as a compliment.
that's a compliment. I go, of course, sometimes I'm a fucking more left than the left. I mean, definitely. Oh, aye.
Suzanne, how has music changed you?
I've made so many friends, met so many people, travelled so many places to see bands. Basically everybody I know here.
Met your husband.
Met my husband. My son plays. I wonder.
Is sliding it to be done?
There's no
Slider.
Oh, we don't want to talk about that.
down the drainage system. I look at it.
It's got me through some very tough times. It's made me very aware of what's going on round about me and different points of view, and it's everything. It's everything, apart from family.
Of course.
And I must admit, I mean, me and Carl knew you invited Ken on a Saturday night and we're going to see an act of some description. You know what I mean? So music kind of keeps you all together. Of
course.
It's all connected.
Toria, how's music changed you?
I don't know if it's ever changed me as more I feel that's how I would express myself, if that makes sense. Music's always been a part of me, and acts up like yourself, Suzanne, like it has got me through so many difficult times. Like if I'm feeling in an absolute shitty mood, I know, right, I can go and put this on. Or if I feel, your mood, it does it, especially because I love everything. My mood, I can pick anything. I can literally pick anything. But what, again, really lucky is that I can also go and pick a band that played in Kilmarnock or came from Kilmarnock or just down the road or whatever. We're just, I keep saying, but we're so lucky, we're so rich in talent in Ayrshire in general. And I'm lucky that I know a lot of those guys as well, so I've got a lot of that stuff just kicking about. Or, I mean, even I messaged my pal Gradson the other week there and I was like, I'm having a wee trip down memory lane, do us a favour, I've lost some stuff during a move, can you send me? And it's like, mate, he actually said, what was it, he said something so weird, like, I'll send you some candy for your log hole. That's what he said. I'll send you some candy. Yes.
Was he going to send you food?
Maybe get some music and a couple
Sorry, I'm
couple
back.
of
Did you say plug hole?
No.
So again, it's just always been a part of me, and I feel like music, especially band stuff, it's still going. A lot of pop music I'm just not that into, it's just not my thing. But bands and stuff, that's still progressing, that's still doing, it's like you were saying, they're expressing themselves, they're expressing their political views, and we're in a time where I think it's really important, and music's an excellent vehicle for that, an absolutely excellent vehicle for that. It's art, and that's what it's for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Robert, how's music shaped your life?
it's just, well, it's always been there. It's a constant. I think it's your security blanket sometimes, isn't it?
Aye.
And it's, I mean, and all the best films and all that music, and I mean, and have this great debate about The Wicker Man. That being, like, somebody says, "What's your favourite musical?" And I say The Wicker Man. They go,
I think it's
not a musical, and I goes, "What is it then?" It's as a horror with music, so, and it's a great soundtrack, but it's just stuff like that, and and it was through the likes of The Wicker Man. My brother was a big Queen fan, and he got that A Night at the Opera album. And the thing about Queen, a lot of folk don't appreciate, is they did a lot of different styles of music. So there was like ragtime in there, and there was sort of kind of old kind of like almost like vaudeville tunes, and but one of the tracks that stood out for me was that the Brian May one was 39.
Classic tune.
Aye, and that got me into folk. It gave me into folk music, and then I was going down the road because Man Bessie had gave me this.
My favourite Queen song.
Yeah, aye, Man Bessie gave me this. She gave me some singles, and one of them was a Joe Gordon Folk 4. So there's this song called Riding Down to Glasgow in My Sour Milk Cart, which is now just available on Spotify. If you appeared the other week. And I'm like, yes. And it's because all these things, they spark a memory, it's what you're talking about, they spark good times, good feelings. And then recently, Saturday, I just found out I'm a big Todd Snyder fan, but I found out he passed away. So that was
a message. Did you get attacked too?
No, I don't think he got attacked. I think he had something happened to him. I think he ate in a blanket or something. But they found out he had pneumonia.
What did he?
Aye. So as a survivor of pneumonia myself, I kind of hit home, and then I've been following. What do you call it? Because these folk, it's not like the past because we've got the social media now. These folk can humanise themselves now, and I've been following. I don't know if. I like the Mavericks as well. I like loads of different stuff. But Raoul Marlowe's doing in a really bad way. I don't think he's got long to go. Actually, it's a shame.
It's not nice.
He's got this sort of form of brain cancer, basically. So it's and you can see but the messages are still there. He's still trying to fight it, and so there's that sense of community as well. But and I think what you were talking about earlier on was the narrative in songs, wasn't it? And I like a song with a good story. I also like loads of nonsense.
Somebody said once that all art is useless, you know.
Oscar Wilde, I believe.
Oscar Wilde, but I just think that music is wired into the human brain. I think humans are musical creatures, and that we all hook into music, and it just attracts us, and it makes us want to interact with it. And it also gives us, as Tori said, it's a mood lifter. And you gravitate towards different types of music at different times in your life. And also, I think it actually shifts you to the point where it can, you know, if you're suffering from grief or you're suffering from any kind of life event, as we all do, we turn towards music quite a lot of the time. And music's there when we're born, music's there when we die, you know. You'll not hear it, but they're going to play something that you like, you know. Always look in the bright side of life, you know, something like that. So I just think, for some reason, being human, we're totally wired for music.
You're totally wired.
Yeah. And the other thing I liked about music in the 70s was punk, because punk sort of said to a lot of people it was a time of mass unemployment, it was a time of disenfranchisement, it was a time when people were going through sort of a mood of social change. They could actually pick up a guitar or play a set, and no matter how bad you were, you could actually form a band and have a go at it. And that have a go ethos, I think, is people. And the other thing is, I think everybody can sing. Some can sing better than others, but we're told. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I think everybody should sing. Right. You know, as somebody who's not got a great singing voice myself, but I enjoy doing it. And I think singing can lift you up to different planes. So that's just what I think. So I think everybody should have a go.
A quick fire round here. What is your favourite album, James?
Oh, the damn Machine Gun Etiquette. 100%. Come on.
Suzanne?
Goodbye, Miss Mackenzie, Good Deeds and Dirty Rags.
Never mind the bollocks for you. I don't need to ask you that. Tori?
Infinity Land by Biffy Clyro.
I've got to go with a tonic for the troops by the Boomtown Rats. So,
Night Flight to Venus by Boney M.
yeah, I'm with that.
That's what I like. That's what I like.
I've actually got that.
My
into this.
fiance's favourite band is Boney M, so
There you go.
loves it. Loves
What about you?
Boney M.
Wait a minute. London Calling.
Correct.
I know him so well.
Oh, never John Peel into the stand up. Here's a line.
Page and Dixon.
I know him so well.
Elaine Orr and Barbara Kirk.
Having a drink before I ask the next question.
Quite right, son.
No, tries you to drink.
What do you think can be done to reinvigorate the local music scene, and who's responsible to drive this on? We'll start. James.
Well, I could get in his answer say Amanda and Bill could move back to Spain or that. But no, I'm really no sure. Honestly, Kirky, I've not got any music scene. I really haven't got a clue about what this.
Suzanne, what do you think can be done to reinvigorate the local music scene?
It's a hard one. I think people need to go and see bands when they do put things on, and they need to put their hand in their pocket and pay a small fee to do it. I mean, it's not easy to do, having tried putting things on. It's not easy.
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody actually realises how much work's involved in it.
Aye.
And that's doing it with your pals that you know are going to turn up, and then trying to get 3 bands to commit to play a night. It's really difficult, and pubs I don't think have got the spare cash to pay to have a band on, and then you've got the whole pay to play thing. So you've got to find a balance there. I don't honestly know what can be done. I think the bands themselves or the artists themselves have got to want to do it. They've got to want to promote it, and they've got to want to get their friends and their family and everybody that knows them to get the word out. But at the same time, if you know a band's playing, it might not be your cup of tea, but if you want to get a music scene going again, you're going to have to get out there.
And you need to support it.
You need to support it, whether it's your cup of tea or not, because you might go and find that, I didn't think I'd like them, but they're actually quite good. It's a hard one, because it's hard times, because the pubs are dying, people don't have money to spend. But then again, you could say, well, rather than going out and spending all your money and drink, spend some of your money on drink, and spend some of your money on a ticket. But that's
Locally, tickets were pretty cheap anyway.
yeah.
But I think COVID brought a new sort of
Definitely.
the new staying-ins and new getting out.
You can't get people to
After that,
say the number of times.
Yeah.
People will say, yeah, I'll be there, and they don't go. And I can't, because I did it last night.
You did?
I did. Said I would go and see Taylor last night, and by the time I did my dinner, I was literally exhausted and just...
But it was a terrible night.
Aye.
Tony, what do you think can be done to reinvigorate the local music scene?
Well, it's like we were kind of just intimating there. It's a hard one. You're right. COVID has hit venues and everything hard.
Changed folk
and then
attitude.
I think it's changed an audience habit as well as a musician habit, because the musicians that were hardcore, like the likes, if anybody that gigged, they needed something, so they started live streaming. And then little bands are going, hey, we could just do that. All we need to do is get a little, and then we'll just live stream. But what you guys have talked about before in previous episodes is that's different from, doing that in your room, that's absolutely fine. Standing in front of an audience that was waiting for you to play. And Rubdo, I think, also mentioned it in his episode. Things go wrong on stage.
Yeah.
Things go wrong on stage. You know, a string snaps, your speaker, there's feedback coming from a monitor. Why is it doing that? If they've never gigged before, they won't know. And that's
when you tell turkeys next year.
That's the issue, I think, for me, is the fact that, yes, you can do it from your room and you can get a massive following. You could then get 500 folk to a gig. Turns out you're shite, because you've never played in front of a live audience before, and you don't know what you're doing. So I don't know whether it's going grassroots, like I was mentioning earlier. I got into this because all the guys that I went to school with were in bands, but they were getting encouraged at school. You know, they weren't just going about Smash and Glockenspiels, as was mentioned by a head of education recently. That's actually really important. That engagement in music at school is exceptionally important. As I mentioned and commented at the time, some of the most successful people I know are musically talented and were encouraged at school. It gave them confidence. And they might not be in music now, but it gave them confidence. It gave them all that stuff that they needed to be able to go and attack the world. And we need funding in schools for music. And then how do we engage with venues after that? Because also you've got to remember, even when I was doing this when I was younger, the licensing laws were a little bit lax in comparison to what we've got now. How do we get 15s and 16-year-olds in venues where they can play and that somebody's going to come and watch them? That's the thing. It's trying to work out how we bridge that gap between the ages, because obviously, everybody, a lot of folk want to go to a gig, they want to have a drink. But if you've got 15 and 16-year-old bands, that's not always possible. How do we bridge that gap? I think if we manage to find that, we can push on and then maybe build the scene back up a wee bit that way. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Doing
the
kite gigs.
council have got to work to do that.
Aye.
Again, it's investment.
Hang up. I've kind of seen the plans of what's happening in there, and it looks phenomenal. And I think those things are in hand, but it's the time.
It's a
No, I
wait.
think it will happen. I mean, I think the people who are in charge are genuinely driving it on, and they've got things in mind and in place to happen. But unfortunately, building work takes time, and it's not going to be ready for. But there are things going to happen before that I know of, and I think there's good people there. I think the right people are there now that maybe weren't there in the past. So, fingers crossed things work out. But again, all the best will in the world, sometimes people's hands are tied by other things. It's
So much red tape now.
Aye.
Definitely. I've made that.
All the
I
rest.
can assure you that people it's not for want to try, and they are working hard to try and get things off the ground. And,
To be fair, we've talked about it before, what they've done in Darwin is a great thing. They've got that wee area where you can go, and it's supported by the community. Maybe that's what we need to look at more as well, as community engagement. It's supported by the community, it's supported by a guy in a local bar. He helps with all of that. I mean, obviously he gets his footfall into his bar, that's banging, but he's also supporting a space where live music can go on. And young people can go. Exactly.
That's a great thing there as well. You've got to remember that Dartmoor's like a tenth of the size of Kilmarnock. It's a wee place, you can police it better.
Absolutely.
You're worried about the vandalism aspect here as well. That's a big issue.
It's a
there.
big issue because again, we've mentioned what do you do with that space with a multi-storey? That would have been a great place to do something there. But how do you police that? How do you make sure everybody's going to be safe? That's the difficulty, and then that lands in
Safety things as well.
isn't it?
Probably something 20 years ago would have been fine, but in this
I
day,
would have self-policed at that
Aye,
point.
I know exactly.
Chosen bouncers, this will sort it. Excellent.
It's just all these things that's got to be thought about
Yeah,
nowadays.
absolutely. But it's like you say, it's the red tape.
Robert, how do we reinvigorate the local music scene?
Right. I take it one of the biggest things must be, you spoke about money, so it must be to do with the funding somehow, right?
Thank you, Alex.
No, right, aye. That's it. But stop paying the. But what actually needs a quality talk show about maybe the local music scene hosted by somebody
Sorry about
that knows what they're talking. No, what we
The
actually.
Man United thing.
What we actually should do is it's a funding thing, right? No, I was laughing because during COVID, Andrew Lloyd Webber was moaning about theatres getting hit badly, and he's got a house, saying church, and swimming pool and whatever else, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure it's affecting you, Andrew, Kim, and the thing is, he has a chancer because he's basically this well-known stories and just adds his daft songs to them. And idiots go and see it. And then you've got other thing where you've got like
Theatre, ladies and gentlemen.
well-known songs, which is jukebox musicals, well-known songs and they write a story in them. So that is kind of, and the copious amount of crap that's actually put on the theatres now. It's like, I mean, I had a look at what's coming up in the Gaiety. Oh, we're having an Irish night. Kind of night in Dublin. Again, When I went to Dublin, it involved somebody shouting at me, "Use your money, you bastard." But the thing is, as well, a lot of the pub, I mean, pub prices are too dear in some places. Okay, and some of them fit it on, some of them fit it on. I mean, somebody goes, "Oh, do you got like a smoking go?" I goes, "No, because I've not got a mortgage for a pint."
Yeah.
And it's like, other pubs are available then.
Alec, what can we do to reinvigorate the music scene?
In Kilmarnock, well, part of it could be the council. I think once the Grand Hall and the Palace Theatre,
I think it's David started here.
No.
I'm sure that can partly help towards it and also encourage. Unfortunately, the Hunting Lodge has become something else, hasn't it? But
Maggie's best.
it's still got a big venue upstairs.
It's like here.
Still big gigs
One
on.
on 2 years ago.
But there is.
I mean, there's some hopeful signs. I go to a place called Centre Stage, and they do quite a lot of music there, and I think it's helping encourage a lot of young people to actually do music, because there's Ross Cooney has got a music school in there, and he's actually bringing up a lot of young people to actually perform music, and he actually put a gig on in the Harbour Arts Centre, and it was absolutely brilliant. He did sort of rock, jazz, fusion and music, but the point you were making earlier on how long it takes to do those things, they rehearse for 40 hours to put a 90-minute gig on. So people have got to keep wanting to do it. But how you encourage them to, I don't know. Something like his music school, he's got people in it who are 9 years old, so they're going through that. But unfortunately, they have to pay for that experience.
That's true. You want to make things free, don't you?
Well, see, I would say off the back of what you've just said there, I mean, Fiona Mackenzie started Centre Stage with Paul Matheson, you know, and that was
She's still there, yeah.
that's who was teaching me at school. So that's how Fiona Mackenzie was the head of the music department at the Grange when I was there. So that encouragement was constant. And then obviously when she moved away from teaching, her and Paul started Centre Stage, and it's just absolutely grown arms and legs. But that's again because she has an absolute passion for what she's doing and how important music is.
Music's a big part of
It's
Centre
massive.
Stage.
It's massive, you know. So she's done such
I use
stuff.
Rossi's studio also to do music in with our friends. So
I mean, the council
sometimes we get
used to do
stories.
things. I remember Aidan doing a thing during the summer holidays, and it was like 6 or 8 week course, and it was Carol Lula that did it. It's like a songwriting and music course, and he was too young to get in, but I'd messaged him and asked if he could still go, and it was fantastic. They got to do a concert at the end of it in the Grand Hall, and then some of the bands played some of the councils, things like things in the Dean Park and stuff after it. But there's nothing like that anymore for them.
Did
That's
all
not
that,
funded.
and he's playing bass in the block hole. For goodness sake, James,
Right, another quick fire question. What's the best gig you've been to, Alex?
At the beach. All right, the Splinters. Splinters playing the turf.
But it does kind of change. There's gigs that I was just fortunate enough to be at. One was the Smiths at the Magnum. Definitely, that's always up there. And Morrissey at the Barrowlands, and you can divide the art for the artist there. But in saying that, other folk have dabbled in certain things that Morrissey's dabbled in and not get much abuse for it, let's say. But there's also, the Waterboys at the Pavilion was a cracking gig as well with the Saw Doctors.
I seen them at Barrowland, and this is the Sea Tour, and they just blew me out.
Oh, you?
Fantastic live, they still are great.
There's
There's too many to mention. Springsteen's always great as well. The Pogues obviously at the Pogues at the Grand Hall. Bob Geldof at the Grand Hall. It was fantastic as well. The Damned. There's too many. I couldn't pick one.
Victoria.
It's a hard one for me as well because I've got the local stuff. I got like Ayrshire Music Live, the full weekends that we would put on for the Ayrshire Hospice. You're raising all the money. You've got bands constant going. So that was great. couple of Magnum gigs as well before it shut down. That was good. We did the Fumes and stuff there. But probably a wee bucket list for me was actually I've been to see Crash Test Dummies, and I love the Crash Test Dummies.
Great album.
I mean, unbelievable. God Shuffled His Feet's one. It's up there. It's in my top 5. And to see that live, and then I've seen it twice now. So it's St Luke's, and I can't remember the other venue, but just really beautiful venues, and everybody's just completely on it. You know, they're absolutely loving it, and they put on such a show. And again, it's just talent, the musicality, the everything, the songwriting. I love the lot.
I always think of you when I listen to that album.
What's it called? God Shuffle His Feet.
God Shuffle His Feet, because there's a line in it that says,
What's the stuff?
someday I'll have a disappearing hairline, someday I'll wear pyjamas in the daytime.
Afternoons and coffee spins.
I had a flu jagging Friday.
Is that the best gig you've been to?
The one I remember the best was the Ramones in the Barrowlands. And walking in, when, for once I actually went in, but just before the band came on, and it was rammed, walking from the carpeted bit on the step, down on the floor, and the whole floor was going like that. It was like a trampoline. And I just remember standing up the back, which I never usually do because I'm too wee, but the whole place was going like that. Every single person. There wasn't a person standing still, even Stephen wasn't standing still for that. That just was special.
James.
I'd have to say really any Motorhead gig, because the only time my ears would be ringing for the after one of their gigs. Been to see other loud bands, but nothing like that. Motorhead, everything louder than everything else.
Yeah.
Spot on. That's it.
Pardon?
David, what was the best gig you've seen?
Me? Definitely Westway All Stars.
Good stuff.
Supporting on the football.
Supporting on the Caddy Coy. Two a free sprint of mine. I would say Killing Joke at the QMU in 1985, the night they rode the tube.
Excellent.
And they played the QMU in Glasgow. Sister Mercy, original, well, after Ben had left, obviously, I can't remember his first name, but second name, but they played, is it Level 8 it's called in Saturday, you know?
Aye.
Right,
Level 8.
in 1985ish again, getting like first national always, and then we had our famous weekend away, you, me, Paul, and
What I like it.
and Stuart, it was 85 and all, it was Milton Keynes Bowl, View 2, the Ramones, R.E.M., Faith Brothers,
Speed of
Speed
Destiny.
Destiny,
Billy Bragg.
Bragg. I fell asleep in the car park a bit and woke up in there. That shows you how good the weekend it was. 20 quid a ticket or something, wasn't it? Was it?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It was £22.
£22.50 a ticket.
James, what's your musical highlight?
I would say it was when I played in that band Dogs Abuse, right? We played in London, the North London Punk Picnic or something, and one of the main band was Raw Power, who were an Italian hardcore band. We played with them. Them and Oi Polloi and some other bands, fantastic. These guys were superb. They actually covered Nirvana, Territorial Pissings.
Oh,
They covered that, and they were superb. I went, wow, absolutely brilliant. I'd have to say that, actually. Aye.
Good reply. Suzanne, musical highlights.
Seeing Bowie at Ingoldston.
That was good.
And seeing Aidan and Stephen playing together in the same band. That's really special for me every time. I think.
Band's that?
Doria, musical highlights.
Other than stuff about Easy Usher Music Live and stuff, I was lucky enough to get to Isle of Wight a couple of years ago, so I got put to who did I see there? I got to see Paul Keaton and Jackie Abbott, Madness, who I'd always wanted to see live, so I was so lucky. And actually my highlight was the Proclaimers, because they were really good, and they had decided to, that particular gig was the first time that they were airing their first political proper little song that they were having a go at, just the usual English. It's really good. They were doing it in the Isle of Wight, and me and my mum were like, that's Scottish people going, yay! And we're going to hide over here, but yeah.
Robert, musical highlight.
Musical highlight, and well, a couple of ones. The kind of personal one for myself was well, Ali wrote a song. Then this guy got in touch with Debbie, who did the song on her album, and so that's my other half, Debbie Campbell, and what's it called? Beyond Belief. They wrote that song Beyond Belief, and actually when I first heard it, it was I hope you don't mind me saying this. It was Ali wrote it to the tune of Sometimes When We Touch, right? And that's what it sounded like.
I don't think it was.
It was, yeah, it was. So, it was a bit like that. I was talking once, and it hurts beyond belief. So I thought it was a kind of similar sounding. So I said, you have to change that tune. And luckily that's
Name that tune.
and so this guy get in touch, a guy called Fabian Joyce. And but Fabian Joyce, I can never remember the name of that band. Is it The Left Room or The Left? Something like that. He's in a band with Pauline Scanlon. Pauline Scanlon is a singer for Ireland. And I was been a fan of Pauline Scanlon for years, and she's sung with kind of like say Sean Shannon and folk like that. And but then Debbie's just released she got this song. It's not actually been officially released, but they play it on Celtic Music Radio called what's it called? Yet to Meet. And it was my attempt at trying to kind of Woody Guthrie kind of style, Pete Seeger, whatever you want. It was my kind of attempt to try and write something like that. And Guy again says he really liked it. So getting sort of kind of the thumbs up for somebody like that means a lot to me. But one of the best musical memories I have, and it's none to do with bands I like or anything. I remember there's a place we went to see this guy, his own sort of studio in France, believe it or not. It was in the south of France, and it's the nearest big tune to it was Grass. So, and we were just sitting out his back door one night, and it was a Saturday night, and it was like that. Oh, I never knew that. What's that? That's the van here, the van. What's the van? So we're down to the town square, and there's this van. It was like a big fold-out stage. So basically, and this band plays. It was some sort of Swiss psychedelic band. And the guy was about 90. I looked like an old wizard or something like that. It was absolutely brilliant. But they had the other two vans. There was a burger van and there was a beer van.
She don't like here.
And you know what I mean? Right, you know, but it's because a lot of campers are running about there. That's folk that can no they campers. That one's
They're the kind of people.
but it was just something like that, and I just thought that's what music's about. It's just bringing folk together that don't actually know each other.
100%.
And I've still got the poster for that gig somewhere. I have to dig it out, and I can't even remember. But it was just fantastic. It was just like, and it was all kind of psychedelic sort of 60s garage stuff they were playing. It was absolutely amazing.
We're going to end the show with you.
Well, when I
What's
think
your
about
musical
it,
highlight?
I used to be a regular attendee at the Wickerman Festival because I used to perform as part of our comedy duo, doing comedy songs. And a couple of things come to mind. Was So Chic perform, and that was kind of marvellous. And we saw the Human League. You know, got a bit of fondness for it. Aye. So we were yeah.
That was enough.
I like them. That was kind of seeing bands at the Wickerman Festival, such a variety, and I suppose going to those festivals every year was a kind of
That was a great wee
Aye.
festival.
What was your comedy duo's name?
Frobisher and Gleeson,
Frobisher and Gleeson.
and we
Look that
we
up.
wrote songs like Egg Chopped Up in a Cup about the Great Scottish Breakfast.
Eggs.
You know,
An excellent way to end.
I had a hand in writing the wee bit for it, didn't I?
you did.
But I did the back. I did the backing vocals and just went chop it up, chop it up, chop it up.
I think on that note,
Just stop.
thank you all for coming. James, Suzanne, Doria, Robert, Alex, and of course Steph. It's been an absolute pleasure having all you guys here.
It's
been
so
great.
much fun.
It's been fantastic.
Sorry? Of course we've paid our bar bill. See you later, folks.
Thanks very much, everybody, and happy Christmas.
Merry New Year.